Hello everyone and welcome. Thank you guys again for joining us for another Lunch and Learn. Of course, we do these every Tuesday at noon Eastern Time. Again, I appreciate you guys again for joining us. We are live. If you guys have any questions about what we're discussing today, make sure to ask in the comment section to your right. This video will also post after it's live, so you can come back and view it again afterwards. And if you have any other questions, you can visit us at our website right up there, hsc-uav.com. You'll find us, our phone number, and all our contact information there as well. My name is Simon. To my right here is John. We're here to answer all your drone questions. And today we have kind of an interesting topic that we're going to cover. I'm going to show you how to create a KML file using Google Earth. And we're actually going to use our own imaging data that we gathered to create that file. So that's a bit of a mouthful, right, John? I mean, what exactly are we talking about here? A KML file, Google Earth? What does this all mean? So hopefully we can shed some light on this today and go over that. So let me move over here. And I'm going to start, we're going to use a couple different pieces of software today. So let me run you through kind of the flow of why we were doing this and when it's applicable to do this type of job and what even is this type of file. Okay, so what we're doing is we're creating a boundary for our spraying drones, but also we could use this file for our mapping drone, for example, our Evo model. Using imaging data that we gathered using a drone, which is kind of cool. So a KML file is a file that allows us to mark an area and is compatible with various types of software. Today we're going to be using AgroSol, which is our unmanned crop spraying drone software. So I'm going to show you an area that we mapped previously, and we mapped it using our Autel Evo 2 dual model is what we used to map it. So we went to the field, we mapped this area, and we actually mapped it using the built-in software with the Autel system. And we did a video on this a couple videos back in our Lunch and Learn, so make sure to check out our other videos on how to actually create a mapping mission with the Autel system. It's really easy to do on those systems. And right now I have Pix4D React open, and this is actually a software that is bundled with the dual model, Autel Evo 2 Dual and the Autel Evo 2 Pro models. It's included for a year. It is a subscription-based software. So let me go ahead and jump right in here. And I think as we go through this, you guys will get kind of an understanding of exactly what we're accomplishing here. John, any questions so far from you or from any of our viewers?
Not yet, but as Simon mentioned, my name is John. I'm here to help support you at HSC. So if you guys have questions, you can put them in the chat today in the YouTube Lunch and Learn that we're doing. You can actually give us a call. You can visit us at hsc-uav.com, where we have a chat box there. You can get a hold of us. So yeah, any questions, please just go ahead and throw them in there, and I'll keep those in order for Simon. So I don't have any yet, Simon. Go ahead.
Awesome. I'm sure there will be, though.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. So this is Pix4D React, and this software allows us to create what's called an orthomosaic map, which means it'll be able to stitch together a series of images that were taken from our mapping drone and create one big geo-referenced map. So let's go ahead and do that. So it's so easy with this software because all we do is click the little plus button way down here by John's shoulder, way down here. And when we click on this, it allows us to open up a folder. Let's see if I can get it to work for you guys.
I have to get way out of the way for
Yeah, no, we can see it. I think my computer's just being a little slow now. Uh-oh. Not responding. Oh boy, we're doing too much on one device here. There we go. So when this page opens, we're able to import images right here on our right. So we can import a folder, and the Autel models actually create a folder when you use a task. So if I hit import folder, I'm able to open up my folders, and I'm not going to process the images now because they do take a little bit of time to process. Typically, we see between 2 to 10 minutes, depending on your computer and the amount of images that you have taken and the size of the area as well. But it's a completely automated process. You just open the folder and click Start, and it processes all the images automatically. Like I said, it just takes a few minutes to do so. So going back to our main screen here, we can go ahead and discard that. You can see I have a couple maps already created here. We're going to use the Sunnytown Park map. This is a local park here. Let me go ahead and double click on it. And this one's already been processed.
That's exactly what I was going to just kind of mention to everybody. We're grabbing maps. I know you already mentioned it. Already been processed and putting them in. So.
Exactly. And Pix4D has a lot of pretty cool features as well, which I'll show you in a second here. And we did do a whole video on Pix4D React exclusively, so you guys can go check that out in one of our previous videos. But I'll run through a couple of the features first. So first of all, let me go into this setting here at the bottom. Oh, you guys can't quite see it. Let me move out of the way. At the bottom here, there's a split view mode at the bottom left. And this mode allows us to actually compare and contrast our, wrong one, there we go, our map versus the base map, which in this case it uses Google Maps. And you can see I can swipe back and forth and see the difference between my map and Google Maps. And as you zoom in closer, you can really start to see the detail much better, because the quality of the map that we take is significantly better than what we see from Google Maps. And most importantly, it's up to date and taken at the time that we want. So it has the right shadows, the right environmental, the weather, everything is exactly how we want it. And you can see here in this case, there's a very significant shadow in the trees in Google Maps, but not so much in my map. And the detail of the tree is a lot more accurate. And you can see actually this tree is a very different size in this case, because this was taken at a different time and a different time of day, and because of the satellite image, sometimes shadows are more prominent. So that's really the advantages of this map, not to mention the accuracy of it is significantly better. So this map allows us to create flight missions on our autonomous drones much more accurately. And that's really the whole goal of doing this. And in some cases, you may not have map data available in your area. So this allows you to create your own, which is really cool. So let's zoom out a little bit. A little more. And again, you can see our whole map. Now with Pix4D, you can do some really cool stuff. You can select areas and mark them. So this is really useful for measuring distances, just kind of a general overview of the area that you're working in. Now, one really cool feature it does have is it has the ability to export the map, export the entire map actually. So when we're go up to the top right here, we have an option to export. I'll go ahead and click on it here. Let's see. Boy, John, my computer's having some issues with loading this. I don't know if you can see that. Too much stuff going on. We'll give it a second. But you can export the map as a what's called the GeoTIFF file, which is essentially like an image. Here it is. You have a couple options, a screenshot, a PDF, but what we're really interested in is the GeoTIFF. And this allows you to export the map as a very large, high-quality image. And that map can be opened up into other programs, too. So I've already exported this map. And let's go ahead and switch over our program to Google Earth.
Yeah, Simon, this was the part that caught me by surprise, like seeing this process and going from, okay, how do I take my drone, take the pictures, what do I do with that? Well, we put it into the React software, and then from there we can export that. And this is the part that I was always lost. Like, where do you actually make the boundaries within Google Earth to be
Got it.
accurate on your own maps? So I'm so
Exactly.
thankful
Yeah,
that we're doing this today.
exactly, and it is a bit of a process. Now, what I'm showing you here, there's a lot of different ways that you can go about creating a shapefile or a KML file like we're doing today. This is just one method that I found that works. What I like about this is that it's a completely free solution. The Pix4D React is included with the Autel drones, and Google Earth Pro is free. So this is a free solution to this. There's a lot of other programs that allow you to export KML files internally and everything, which is great, but this is a great solution, and Google Earth allows you to create KML files really easily. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, first of all, you guys can see I already have my new map loaded on here, and on to the left side you can see here under my places I have this map loaded, and it even shows me my source image is on my computer. Now, I can actually deselect it, and you can see it goes away, and it goes back to Google Maps, and look at what a difference, how different it looks. It's pretty crazy, just how different it looks, and you can turn it on and off and see the difference between the two. Now, how did I actually load this map into Google Earth? Well, it's actually extremely simple. You just go to File at the top left, click Open, and it allows you to find, in this case I put it on my desktop, my map right here. So once you open up the folder, one thing that you do have to do, this did trip me up a little bit. When you click the Open button in Google Earth, it defaults to a specific type of file. You guys might be able to see it here. I know it's a little small, but it defaults to a KML file. But if you click on it, it allows you to select all sorts of files, because you'll notice now I'm in my folder, but nothing is showing up. But if I go down to the file type and select images instead of Google Earth files, check it out. There it is.
There it is.
So if you're not seeing the file, make sure to check that your file type is selected to the right kind. You can see Google Earth can open so many different types of files. Tons and tons of files. But what we're trying to open is an image file, which is right here. And you can see it shows up right there. There's our map. I'm not going to open it again because I've already opened it. But once you open it, it shows up just like this. And it'll actually bring you into the area. So this image is georeferenced. I've used that term a couple times. So georeferenced means that the image has coordinates built into it to determine where it is on Earth. Super cool.
That's really cool.
Let me go ahead and close this since we're not using it. There we are. So super, super cool. Now, once the map is here, we can see our map on Google Earth, and you can see you can even zoom out and see it right there. It's funny how bright it is compared to the standard imaging. It pops out like crazy. You can see I can enable it and disable it with the checkbox. Very, very simple. Now, a couple things about Google Earth. You can see when you zoom in using your mouse, it tends to go into this 3D mode, and you can adjust that using these arrows up here. When we create our boundary area, we really want to be looking at it straight down. The 3D mode tends to affect how well you can actually see the area. So you can use these arrows here to tilt the map back down, and you can use these arrows to move you around. So just keep an eye out for that. It's just something I've learned kind of in the past. Also, you have your orientation here. I always use north up. I think that's what makes the most sense, the easiest to understand, especially for the type of mapping that we're doing. Ready?
All right. Hey, Simon.
Yeah.
We don't have any questions yet, but a few more people have popped in to join us. So thank you guys for joining us. Please feel free to throw any questions in the chat if you have anything. We're in the middle of taking a .kml file. Well, basically creating a .kml file, I should say. We started with a map that we generated with Pix4D, and now we exported that and imported that into Google Earth Pro, and that's where we are right now. I think we're about to make our boundaries.
We are,
Google Earth
yeah.
Pro.
That's the next
Yeah,
step.
I just want to get everybody caught up. So
Yeah,
thank
thanks,
you.
John. That's perfect. And guys, again, if you're just joining us, thank you again for joining us. We love to hear your questions. So if you do have any, put them in the comments below, or you can visit us at our website, hsc-uav.com. Yeah, so we're ready to create our boundary file. So it's very, very simple, actually. At the top here in our menu bar, we have a couple options, and one of which is our tools options. Actually, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. So tools, I do want to show you this. Tools allows you to use a lot of different options here, which are really cool. So you have a ruler, which you can use to measure distances. And what's really cool, the ruler is incredibly versatile. So you can do lines, you can do paths, you can do polygons, circles, 3D paths, all kinds of stuff. Really,
that's amazing.
Pretty in-depth distance ruler. And like I mentioned, because we're using our own map data, it's very, very, very accurate. This georeference data from the Autel Evo 2 is extremely accurate, significantly more accurate than the satellite imaging. And it allows you to zoom in a lot farther. But let's go ahead and close the ruler. There's other tools here as well that are pretty useful. The GPS feature allows you to, let me see if I remember here. Actually, this is actually really interesting. This allows you to import files from an external GPS. And it has some built-in options for certain devices like Garmin or Magellan. And it'll actually allow you to import a file from a GPS unit. So let's say you were walking around in this field with a handheld GPS. You could create your path using a handheld GPS and then import it into here, which is super cool. There's even real-time options here. So pretty neat. A lot of really cool features. Google Earth is actually a really powerful software. If you guys haven't used it before, I highly suggest it. And I know I mentioned it before, but for the new people that are coming in, if you haven't used it, this is a completely free software. You can go to Google Earth, search it online, and you can download it and use it right now if you need to. And it has so many features. I'm just barely touching the surface here. It's a really neat software. Anyway, we saw the tools here, but if we go to the add function, this is where we actually are able to create our area. Now, there's a lot of different options here. We can add a folder, a place mark, a path, etc. Photos. What we want to add is a polygon. Our systems, typically, we're looking to add an area, and we're always trying to add a polygon. So let's go ahead and hit the polygon button, and you're going to see it's going to another page here. I can actually name my polygon here. We'll call it Lunch and Learn. And it has a lot of different options here. Now, the default options here typically are just fine, but it does allow you to modify the size of the line just so you can see it better. Let's make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. The view, even the altitude here. Now with our drones, the altitude isn't imported into the system because it's just creating the boundary. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a minute when we import it into AgroSol. Let's see here. Anyway, you can see my mouse here now has a different, it's no longer a cursor. It looks like a little crosshairs. And if I click on the map, it's going to create a line. Now, we can move that out of the way so you can see it. You can see I'm clicking and clicking on the map. It's actually creating a polygon. Now, a polygon is just the shape of my area. Now, let me show you why I like this option here for the style and color. You can see right now as I'm creating my area, it's making my polygon white. Well, we can actually change that and choose to have it filled and outlined or just outlined, for example. When we have it just outlined, we just see the line. We can also change the size of the line. Now, I want to make it clear, all of these functions are really just used for visual aspect in Google Earth, so you can see it well. It doesn't affect when we import it. Again, we can add points as we want here, which is super cool. What's really interesting too is we hold down the mouse and then drag it. Oh, hold on. Well, we can move points, but if we click and drag, we can actually add tons of points. Can you guys see that? And actually create curves too. And we can go back and move points as needed. I know, guys, it might be a little hard to see, but there's little red points here that I'm clicking on to move. So we'll just make an area
well.
here.
I'm watching it on YouTube at the same time, and the quality's really good on YouTube.
Good, good. I'm glad you guys can see it well. So that's how we create our area. And again, you can go very in-depth with creating this area. I'm just doing a very simple area here just for demonstration. Again, we're able to zoom in as far as we want. A lot of options here. And in the measurements section, it'll actually tell you the size of the area, which is kind of cool. Let's see. Let's change this from square miles to acres instead. So you can see it's 1.5 acres. You can even measure the perimeter of this.
That's a nice feature for RPAS and spraying drones too.
It is. Look, you can even measure the
acre
perimeter
size.
distance.
Is hectares in there too?
Yeah, pretty much every unit is here.
Oh, wow.
It is set to, hectares right here. 0.62 hectares. So super cool. So once we hit OK, you'll notice on the left-hand side, this list here where it says places is where you see all of the stuff that you create. So you can see right here I have my Lunch and Learn area. And I also have another one here, the Sunnytown area. You can actually put them on top of each other if you want. And you can add as many as you want. It's super easy. And if you double-click on the Lunch and Learn, it allows you, well, hold on, if you double-click it, it'll zoom out. But let me see if I remember how to modify this. It is possible to edit this. Okay. Let me show you guys this. If you right-click on the name of the area and hit Properties, it brings you to this page where it allows you to make edits to the area. Pretty straightforward. Now, we've created our area. Let's say we're satisfied with this area that we created. Now it's time to actually use this file. And this file is called a KML file. It's just kind of a standard file for an area. And this is a file that we can use to import into AgroSol, which is our crop spraying drone software. But even like our Autel Evo has the ability to import a KML file, which is super cool. What I like about using a KML file is, for example, I can use my mapping drone and my spraying drone to fly the same mission, which allows for a lot of opportunity for creating new maps and recurring spray missions, etc. Really, really, really cool. So let me show you how to do this. This is so simple. Once we're satisfied with the area, we click on the area in our Places folder, or section here, list rather. We right-click, and we can save the place as. It's available right here. Once we select that, it's going to come up with a window, and it's going to allow us to save this area. Now, you'll notice, save as type, there's going to be a couple options here. We have a .kmz and a .kml. Some systems allow for KMZ importing, but typically we want to use a KML file. So we select KML, click Save, and now that area is saved on my desktop. So easy. So the last step to this process is we want to open up AgroSol. Again, this is specific to our crop spraying system. Here's AgroSol. We can go over to our planning tab. And if you guys are more interested in this software, we have several videos on AgroSol on our channel. So check out our YouTube page on our videos, and you'll see a couple on AgroSol as well.
Yeah, that actually brings up a quick question, Simon.
Sure.
And actually, this question came from somebody I don't remember how long ago, and it was kind of around a .kml file. And before before I spoke with you in length, I honestly didn't quite understand the .kml, but I get it now.
Right.
It's really more of just, GPS coordinates that you're going to use in maybe another system that are
Exactly.
highly more accurate than just clicking without doing that whole process. Now,
Right.
what the person asked me though was about the parameters within Agrisol and getting confused between a .kml that's a positioning type file versus what is going on inside of that area, that Agrisol tells us what's happening. And that's a completely different, separate operation. And as Simon mentioned, we have some great videos on the software, on changing the swath and all of that fun stuff. But the .kml, just to review, is nothing more than precise, accurate GPS coordinates to fulfill whatever mission you need that for. And
That's
for
exactly
us,
right.
It's RPass.
Exactly. So what we're importing here is the boundary of where we want the drone to fly. It's not the speed, it's not the height, it's not the gallons per acre that we want to spray. That's all done through the software specific to the spraying drone or a mapping drone if you're using this for mapping. So let me show you that real quick, actually. So we've created a customer here called Sunny for Sunnytown Park. And what I'm going to do is click the gear icon right here. And that is where it allows me to open up my utilities that allow me to import a file. And you can see that right here. Import file. I click on import file. Oh, there it goes. Okay, slowly. And you'll see right here I have the file that I just created, sunnytown.kml. I'll click open. Give it just a second. You can see, well, it already went away. At the bottom, there was a notification that said it was successfully imported. And if I go to this customer now, and I use the little crosshairs here to bring me to my desired area, check this out. There's the file I just created. Let me zoom out a little bit. There it is. That's the file I just created within Google Earth. Now, as you can see, it's just an area, but AgroSol creates the actual flight mission. So if I click on it, you'll see it generates a mission. I can move my landing point. I can move my start point. I can change all my settings, my spray rate, my speed, my height, everything from here. And then I can hit the checkbox. So the process is really, really easy. It's extremely straightforward. And there's one more thing I want to show you guys. You're also able to export the file as a KML file. So this is kind of cool. Let's say we go to a different mission that we created. Let me just take one from here and export KML. I'm able to export the file as a KML file as well. So I can actually create a file in AgroSol and then export it as a KML and open it up in Google Earth. So that's pretty useful. Let's say you have a customer that wants to see the area that you sprayed, but you don't have, they don't have this software. You can export it as a KML and send it to them and say, look, this is the area I just did an application on. And let's see, right here it shows me my KML file. And if I'm not mistaken, I can double click. Well, let's try to open that actually. Let's go to Google Earth. Let's click open. Let's see if we can get that to open here. Actually, let me just go from here. I think I can just double click on it. It should open up in Google Earth, and we'll be able to see that file there. Interesting. Not sure what that means. There it is. Oh, yeah. And this file did happen to be in, it's downloading, area progress. Anyway, you guys get the idea. It takes just a second to install. But you can go both directions. You can do an export of a KML file, or you can import a KML file. And that kind of brings us to the end of this Lunch and Learn, actually. The time flies by, but the bottom line here is there's so many ways that we can actually create areas. So in this case, we mapped our area with our mapping drone. We processed the images and created a georeferenced imaging file. we imported it into Google Earth, we created a polygon in Google Earth, we saved it as a KML file, and then open it in Agrisol. So again, a lot of different ways that we can approach this. This is just one way. But again, guys, I wanted to thank you guys for joining us. John, any other questions or anything?
Yeah. I'm so sorry. Before we take off, I just thought of another way that we could demonstrate, maybe on another Lunch and Learn, how to create another area. And it's, I'm going to say it wrong, I know it, but the little GPS tracker.
Yes, the tracker.
On the field with, right? And we can get precise, accurate measurements. We could upload, I mean, that would actually be right in Agrisol. Then you could export that and move it wherever you need to move it as well. If you aren't using a mapping drone for any reason, you do have the ability to use the tracker that comes with the Hylio device and the Agrisol software. So that's another way that we could probably show that off sometime.
Absolutely. And guys, one thing I almost forgot to mention, this Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we have a live drone demo from the field, actually flying our Ag 122 22-liter, almost 5.8 gallon spraying drone. Super excited to show you guys that. We will be in the field. Hopefully you guys can join us again. Make sure to subscribe and hit the little bell so you don't miss it. We will be live at 11 a.m. Eastern Time in the field with our spraying drone. So don't miss that. We'll see you guys then.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. See you guys next week and later this week.
Later this week.
All righty.